Well, the vision of our next guest organization is to ensure that no one goes hungry in Canada. Chris Hatch, the CEO of Foodbanks Canada, welcome to Context. Okay, the numbers are staggering. You are serving 1.1 million people every month.
So every month across Canada, we have 1.1 million visits to food banks across Canada. So all the food banks in Canada, we add up all the people going to the food banks each month in the month of March. And we had 1.1 million visits last March to food banks in Canada.
That is 1 in 30. That is, look around you, you know somebody who has gone to a food bank. 1 in 30 people in Canada have had to use a food bank in the last month. Let's talk about who they are.
That's correct. So, I mean, what's really, the numbers are not up dramatically from year over year. They're relatively flat, but who makes up that 1.1 million visits is really what's quite startling.
Okay.
First of all, almost half of them, so almost 48% of them, are single adults living alone. And when you look at Canada, where we only have 28% of the population of single adults living alone. So single adults living alone are overrepresented when it comes to food bank use. And who are these individuals living alone? Let's talk about
high risk to be single, it sounds
high
like.
risk, because income. And the seniors, we're seeing a huge increase in the number of seniors using food banks in Canada. So 7% of the food bank visits were seniors, which we define as anyone over age 65. And it's the largest growing age group in our food bank use are seniors.
Okay, a few other shocking statistics from your food report. Here we've got them up on the screen. It's children as well. So seniors all the way to children. Then what you're seeing is this huge issue of food insecurity. Define what food insecurity is.
It's a term you hear used a lot, and it really means that people may not have the means to know where their next meal is coming from, may not have the income to get the nutritious food that they want to eat, or culturally appropriate food. It's really worrying about, I don't have enough money for my next meal or an appropriate meal, or having to skip a meal.
Wow, 4 million. Next stat here from the food, your food report. 5 million meals served every year. I don't think we realize that it's also a place to eat, not just a bank to withdraw.
Exactly. A lot of our food banks and food programs are hot meal programs. They're breakfast programs for kids before school. We're being asked to do more and more lunch programs across Canada.
Okay, so that's the reactionary, all of that traffic walking in. But there's another whole side to Food Banks Canada. You want to see Ottawa moving on this. So there's an activism component. Politically, what are you lobbying for? So
that's right. That's part of my mandate, is to reduce the need for food banks in the future. And so we have people in Ottawa who report to me who help work on federal policies. So we're looking at a couple things. First of all, we're advocating for a subsidized, standardized daycare system across Canada, because more and more people are spending so much of their income to get their children into daycare. They have no money left over, and therefore they end up going to the food banks.
And so working families need better childcare.
Well, the cost, if you look at the average cost of childcare in Canada is $10,000 a year. In Toronto, it's $20,000 a year.
I don't think many people realize that when we're talking about a national subsidized daycare, that it's the food bank that's lobbying for that to happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it also gives children a jump start. As you said earlier, a third of the people coming to visit food banks in Canada, so a third are children and youth. And so again, overrepresented, and you only have roughly 19% of Canada is made up of children and youth, yet you've got 34% food bank use among children and youth.
Okay.
So again, a shocking statistics in terms of who's behind the numbers.
Okay, Chris, thank you very much. Chris Hatch, the CEO of Foodbanks Canada. A sobering reminder that 1 in 30 in Canada need the help of a food bank. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorna. Thank you very much.
Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. What do you think about today's topic? Let us know in the comments.